All right, guys and gals, it's about that time of day again here. Newsletter time. Joseph James here, School of Trade, Sideways Markets. It's October 20th, 2014, a rebalancing Monday, the Monday after options expiration Friday. Hope you guys are having a great Monday here so far. Boy, it's that time of year again. I'll tell you, getting the Halloween costumes ready, all the leaves are changing. Don't even get me started on baseball right now. Don't even get me started on the World Series starting up this week. My boy, Big Game James, going to win the World Series for the Royals? Kansas City? Oh, man, this is good stuff. Well, I could talk all day long about my picks on the World Series here, but, boy, we've got a lot to cover in this nightly newsletter. Without any further delay, let's jump right in here, guys. Want to remind you guys here for our newsletter for Monday, October 20th. Make sure you're watching this video over on our blog here at Sideways Markets. If you're not watching the video on our blog at Sideways Markets, please make sure you do. There's a link below the video if you're watching this video right now on our YouTube page. So don't forget to click that link below the video on our YouTube page. Get on over here to the blog. There's 3 specific reasons. First of all, first reason, you can download all of my charts tonight. All my charts I'm going to go over right now, including some bonus charts. You can download those here with me by following that link right below the video here tonight. Second thing, upper left-hand corner, I have a special free pass for you guys. Come out and join me in my live trade room any day this week in the afternoon. Can't wait to send you an invitation and a free pass to attend my live trade room. Just give me a click right there, upper left-hand corner, give me your name and your email address, and I'll send you over the invitation into your email box. Third thing here, last but not least, right above my ugly mug, you'll see a spot to register for our nightly newsletter mailing list. Now, if you grab your free pass, if you register for the mailing list, don't forget to check your email. I'm going to send you a verification email here to make sure that you are not a robot, all right? You don't want to be a robot. Right? Pretty lonely business there. Pretty lonely life being a robot. So free pass, newsletter mailing list, and of course, don't forget to download those charts right below the video. So, ready to rock and roll? You all stretched out? Yeah, helmets on, mouth guard in? All right, let's rock and roll. Digging in here first this evening, we'll start with the mighty mini Russell. Boy, I'll tell you, these equity markets, this could be ugly. This could get ugly. I've been talking about the fact that we have this trend life cycle, right? And the way that these markets work, as far as technically speaking goes, is that we have downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, right? Very easy. Then once we make that lack of a lower low, we turn to kind of neutral, right? So we turn neutral, we turn neutral, we turn neutral. We mark up the highs, we mark up the lows of that range, and then we got to wait for the breakout. Right? Now, when it breaks like this, that's not enough for me to say we're bullish. It's not until we pull back and then go higher from there. So it's not until we get that pullback and the pullback doesn't collapse, right? That's the key. Because what happens quite often is we get all the buyers in, the buyers get trapped in when this thing collapses back down, and then guess what? It then turns right back to bearish again, and we're off to the races. So we are right here, right now, and we are trying, right? Shouldn't say we're right there right now. We are right here right now, trying to get up, pull back, and go. So we still have a lot more work to do for the buyers on this Russell right now, and you can see, this is why I said don't go getting too excited about being a buyer just yet. We definitely had a short covering rally. You know there was some profit taking on the short sellers out there. At least I definitely would have been taking profit on it. And maybe some bargain hunters back up to 1100, right? In fact, if you recall, my exact words were in last week's newsletter, we'd probably end up back around 1100 and then get it to sell it again. We haven't quite backed off yet. And you can see here, dollar took a pullback. Dollar ticked a little bit lower here today. We might be able to wrestle our way up here above 1100, and then that's when I said it might get ugly here because we may get stuck in the mud here around this 1100 for a while. Everyone is kind of wondering, why did it collapse? Why is it going back higher? If you talk to traders out there in the marketplace right now, it's amazing because earlier on in the year, the major asset players in the marketplace, they had no idea why they were buying. That was the scariest part of being a money manager earlier part of 2014. You talked to the biggest firms in the world, and they couldn't tell you why they were buying equities, besides the fact that they were. Now we have a scenario where we got this somewhat of a correction, but we haven't quite seen that jump on yet. Just you wait. Get above this 1100, then pull back and keep going. We'll be back to we've got some levels for you waiting for you overhead, right? So that's where we expect price to want to go afterwards. We're not there yet, as you can see right now, and I'm going to keep a bearish tone to this market right now until we get to that above 1100, pull back, stay above. Right now, we are just a bunch of buyers, right, playing around with this around 1095 right now, right? I might be singing a different tune later on this week, but as of right now, there's nothing on this chart. I don't care about news. I don't care what about that crazy guy on Bloomberg talking about buying everything. I don't care. The chart is what I believe. Okay, nothing else. Right now, we're not bullish just yet there on the Russell. As you can see here, as we go a little bit faster time frame here, okay, starting to be a believer. I'm starting to warm up here to these buyers right now. Why? Why? Well, first of all, we can see we get a bullish trend. Okay, green clouds, new higher highs. We got above all the key moving averages. Heck, even my JJ trend indicator over here tells me bullish right now. So we know we're bullish. We can see we're bullish. But again, don't forget, we're not quite there yet. But again, looking at this chart though, okay, where's the Kool-Aid? Pass the Kool-Aid this way. I'm starting to buy into this. Look at the volume analysis at the bottom here. Okay, I do a lot of volume analysis at new highs, new lows, in the middle of ranges. And if this volume proves true, now remember, we didn't get this last week. Remember this in my trade room last week? I know, I don't mean to bring up the bloodbath again. Ooh, right, all those bad memories. Well, they should be good memories last week, because we made a killing selling short on it all last week and then buying it towards the end of the week here. But the reality is, though, is that we've got a much different look at this higher high. Last week, this time, we were seeing those lower lows without volume. Late in the week, higher highs, no volume. Now we're seeing a higher high here on volume. That tells me these buyers are most likely here to at least stay in the next 72 hours. We'll have to wait and see what happens next. So volume's definitely confirming these bulls are the real deal right now. Will that continue into tomorrow? Well, that is still to be determined. What's my plan going to be with this? Bullish trend, I'm going to wait for a pullback, right? I want to wait for a pullback here. I'm not going to buy those highs, right? You're never going to make any money long-term buying at a premium price. I want to buy at a discounted price. I've got buy zones here at 83.9, 80.8, 76.3, 73.6. Reversal line here at 84.7. And just for kicks, if you draw a trend line off this high right here, you get this little triangle, right? That would be another little pullback here for the buy. Bottom line right now is, if I'm going to be a buyer, I'm not going to do it right here. Now, if you remember, we had a buy zone here earlier in the month, right? It was last week. We had a buy zone here. We already got that buy off that buy zone, so there's no questions about that. Go back and watch last week's newsletter, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, right? So we know why price is moving higher right now. We just know that we're not in a position right now to be a very aggressive buyer here. If anything, I'd be looking to be a seller right now on the Russell. We take a look here. At the 16 on the Russell. You can see even more of the same. Right? You see more of the same. Higher highs, higher lows, green clouds, above the key moving averages. Heck, just for kicks, I drew a trend line on here. Combine it down to the downside. You can see a beautiful channel there. I've got targets waiting for me, or should I say buy zones here waiting for me. 90.1, 86, and I got 90 even. All right, 90 even. Now, you might also be able to get away with a little trend line here. Right? It's a little trend line there. Draw that trend line off those highs, right? You might be able to get away with that too, right? Price goes up, pulls back to that trend line, right? So draw that trend line in. That might also be an option there for you for a buyer. So that'll be right around, depending on when we get there, about 1092. Again, that will all depend on when we get there, obviously, right? If we pull back right now, it'll be 1091. If we pull back tomorrow, it might be 1093. Okay, just be aware of that. So grab that trend line, put that on the chart as well. I'll make sure that's updated to guys on the blog tonight for your download. All right, looking good on the Russell. Short-term buys, long-term, not quite bullish just yet. They're on the Rusty. Let's keep going. How about the gold? Always reminds me of that great movie by Austin Powers, right? Anyways, back to focus, Joe. Focus, Joe. Focus. Let's keep going. 64 on my anchor here on gold. What's my trend? What's my trend? Well, trend is still down, right? We got, as you can see, the JJ trend shows me a light red. That means I got one red, one green, right? So we got a half, we're going to mixture here right now. Long term, we're bearish. Short term, we're bullish. That's what a light red color of the indicator means. Lower lows, lower highs, and look, here we are. Does this look familiar, guys? Yeah, this is the same spot we've been for weeks here on gold. If you listened to me last week, I thought for sure last week, because of all the craziness going on, I thought for sure we'd be at least talking about 66s here today, but apparently not. We're still just kind of lifeless here. We definitely got a bit of got a little bit of a catch of a bid today. We definitely got a little bit of push up today. Blame it on the dollar today, really. Dollar caught a little bit of a downturn, a little bit tick down on the dollar this morning, and that's why most likely here this gold pushed higher. Once again, just like the Russell, we gave you guys some buy zones last week on it, right? If you go back in time and watch last week's newsletter, we had this what you would call a flag pattern or a triangle pattern here, right? But basically, though, we were watching this thing, we kept buying it at that low, and finally, right, it got its groove on to the upside here. Finally, here on gold, this gold has been a lifeless market. Now, here's a good example on gold right now. It reverses after testing that 36.2 area. Again, that level was there last week when I gave it to you in the newsletter. We're well above that key support, so we're clearly bullish. But the problem right now, though, is we've already missed the move. Right, so if you didn't get the buy like I recommended last week, this level hasn't changed here either, guys. I'm not talking in hindsight right now. That was on the charts all week last week too. So if you didn't get the buy, if you're in the buy right now, you've got some great targets waiting for you here. Targets at 1250.3. That's 1250.3. Right, so you got targets overhead at 1250.3, 1260.2, right, so on and so forth. So nice, easy targets there for you guys up to the upside. Very, very easy to see where your targets are if you're already in this trade long on the gold with us from last week. What about the short-term traders, though? What about the traders that didn't get the long last week? What if you're brand new to this newsletter? Well, glad you asked. Draw the trend line off the high. Draw the trend line off the low. Combine it up. Find a little channel. And bam, that's a great spot to be a buyer right there, guys. Right? Call that the bank robber. Stick them up. Just give me your money, right? Buy that pullback. So looking for price to get up, pull back, and keep going right now. Again, no doubt about we're bullish, right? We're getting some higher highs here. We got green clouds. We're above all the key moving averages. We got a nice bullish trend on it right now. 40.9. Probably going to be one of the best spots to buy here. 40.7. Last call here. For a wave 2, 1235.7, and then if we get back below 32, we will reanalyze that tomorrow in real time. I don't see this market going lower right now. Let's put it this way. I don't see it going lower. The idea of gold going lower right now is a little bit cuckoo. If anything, it's going to keep going higher. The big question right now is, do we have a pulse? It's very sluggish right now. Don't force it. Again, this is one of those times when if you miss the long-term buy, be patient here now. Wait for that pullback there on gold. All right? Thank you so much there, gold. Let's keep moving here. Last but not least, we go from that funny yellow metal here to the black gold, the crude oil futures. 64 anchor chart. 64 anchor. Now, who's a member out there? Who's a member of mine out there? Okay, you know the price action strategy, right? We have a strategy that uses just candlesticks. What do we know about a broken channel? What do we know about a broken channel? Right? Downward channel, broken channel, right there. What do we know? We know 2 legs down, right, into a new low. So we would expect this price, because it didn't keep going, we'd expect this price to want to test 79.78. Long-term anchor chart right now tells me stay on the sell side. If I just look at the indicators we have here, you can see we're all red right now. Red short term, red long term. Heck, even the JJ trend's telling me red. So we're definitely staying to the downside right now. Look closely. We just barely missed that sell zone there. That was painful. That was painful last week. Remember that was last Friday? goes, I mean, literally 7 ticks away from getting into that sell zone, we might go back up and test it, right? I mean, it hasn't been tested yet, so we may end up going one down, up, and then making the move. So I'm not going to forget about you, 84.90. I would love to sell you in a few days here. So maybe tomorrow morning, we'll see what we got. You got targets waiting for you to the downside. Okay, the targets are really easy. 79.78, 78.32. Gosh, could we get to 75? I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know how that's possible. All the violence in the Middle East right now, how the heck is this happening? Oh, I know how it's happening. So, thank you, Saudi Arabia. No big deal. Let's keep going. We've got crude here on the look to the downside here right now. Oof, this chart is not easy to look at. This thing is this is ugly. This is definitely ugly here, absolutely. Now, looking at this chart again, you can see here we've got a light green indicator here, upper left-hand corner, right? A light green means long-term green, short-term red, right? Long-term bullish, short-term bearish. We can see, but that is just an inch away here right now. Guys, we are teetering on a collapse right now. We are absolutely teetering on a collapse. Who is the bozo that did these charts? Oh yeah, that was me. That was me. This should be a low here, right here. 81.54, 81.54. That is definitely going to be a target. I'll tell you, the guy who did this chart's going to be fired. Take him out back and string him up. Okay, we got the downtrend, obviously long term right now. We know that's for sure. We got stuck inside this range last week, right? Remember this end of the week last week? We got stuck right here on Friday and just kind of went bleh. Not a lot was going on. Made the lower low. Here's a classic triangle here, classic wedge, right? We break the wedge, we retrace back to the low of the wedge, and then whoops-a-daisy, right? On we go, on we go. Members, if you're with me on this, members, this is what we call a reversal line, but it's a trend line reversal line, right? A little bit different type of reversal line here. Works the same way, but we're going to use the low of that wedge. And then, of course, you got some sell zones here, 83 to 83.34, 83 to 84.12. Any of those will work. And again, as much as I see us being right on the edge, I mean, we are literally a little bit of a nudge away from collapsing here again. But 84.90, again, if it jumps up, I will definitely be looking to sell the 84.90. And you better believe it, 86.29 as well. So as we keep going higher here, we get ourselves into better and better positions to be a seller. I know that sounds crazy, but newsflash, you're never going to make your $1 million in the market if you don't start thinking like a contrarian, guys, right? Remember what Warren Buffett always said. He's running into a burning building when everybody's running out, all right? Put on the big boy pants, we always say, right, and get short at those overhead sell zones. Let's keep going. Last chart here on crude. And again, we are trusting the chart right now. There is a ton on this chart. A ton on this chart. First of all, a couple things here. We can easily see this range, right? Mark up the high. Oh, sorry. Mark up the low. Again, who did these charts? There's my range, right? So that's clearly my short-term range. So if you find yourself up at these highs, you know what we're trying to do. We're trying to sell those highs. You find yourself down at the lows, take your profit at the lows. Okay, very, very easy. Okay, keep it simple. Works better that way. Now, we just barely, let's go from top down. We got the highs here. We're definitely going to want to sell. 85.87 up to 86.29. It's a bit of a wide range there, but we're looking for the collapse after that price comes up higher. Next thing we're looking for is 84.90. Okay, 84.90. Same thing we talk about. Nothing changed there. 84.90, still looking at that. We might get a bit here at this 84.45. Bottom line, though, as we go higher, I'm looking for sells, right? So I'm going to say sell the highs of the wedge, 84.45. Remember, 84.90 is not the wedge high. It looks like it is, but it's not. We went to 80. Look, we didn't get to 84.90. Remember, this is not horseshoes, and I'm not throwing hand grenades. Close does not count. It needs to hit, right? Why does it have to hit? Because black boxes, algos, right, HFTs, proprietary traders, institutional traders, they don't trade when it's close. They trade when the levels are activated, All right, you got to remember that, guys. So we didn't get to 84.90. So again, we go higher here, draw that trend line off the high. I'll say 83.50 area, right? So selling the highs, again, draw the trend line off the high, sell them there. I'll also sell the high of this wedge. Again, we'll call it 84.50. We'll call it 84.30. We've got 84.90. We've got 85.87, right? Those are all where we look for a sell. But I'll tell you right now, though, we do not look like we have to wait very long on this. If it doesn't collapse here overnight, right, it'll probably sit here sideways overnight and fall asleep. But we got some great targets here. Again, I love this trade setup. I love when it does this, guys. Breaks out of the wedge, pulls back. If it can't keep going higher, you know where it's going. It's going back to that low there, 79, 78. So be ready for that. I've got targets here, 81.20, just an extension to the downside. 80.86 target for trigger zone target. 79.78 is the low. And then, of course, another extension here at 79 even. What direction are we looking at right now on the crude? Looking to stay short here. We may not get it right now. We may have to wait here for tomorrow. All right, now you guys on the plan here. We're looking bullish on the gold. We are looking bearish here on the crude. And then what was that Russell again? Bullish on the Russell as well. Bullish on the Russell as well in the short term. Let's talk about tomorrow's news. We have a very active schedule here this week. The fourth week of the month of October. Don't forget those Halloween costumes. You don't want to be picking out the bottom of the barrel here. You don't want to go as... You don't want to be the laughing stock of the Halloween party this year, that's for sure. Okay, what do we got here tonight? We've got news here tonight, 10 o'clock, and I'm going to go out on a limb here right now. And say I think just maybe that news out of China. Yeah, 3 red star news events, GDP, industrial production, which is basically manufacturing, and retail sales. I mean, come on, you're getting pretty much everything you need to know all at 10 o'clock tonight, right? GDP, you'll know growth out of Asia. Industrial production, you'll know manufacturing. Retail sales, you'll know consumer prices, you'll know consumer confidence, right? Literally, you're going to get a snapshot of exactly what's happening in Asia all at 10 o'clock Eastern time tonight. And I didn't mean to ignore you there, meeting minutes from our good friends in Australia. I didn't mean to ignore you, but nobody cares about you tonight. All eyes are going to be on this 10 o'clock news of China. So what does that mean? That means if you're in Asia, if you're in Hawaii, if you're in London, be ready. Be ready, because this is going to be reacting early tomorrow morning. We go into the London session here. I've got minor news, 2 o'clock, 4:30, 7:45, Goldman Sachs same store sales, 8:55 Red Book. Those are all yawners. Nobody cares about that. Existing home sales, though, now we're talking. So there's been a lot of mixed news over the past week and a half. We spent the last 6 months just breaking records of all the great news we've had in the U.S. Over the past 10 days, though, now it appears the U.S. is starting to get the sniffles, right, where Europe and Asia have complete flu symptoms right now, right? So it'll be interesting to see what happens here this week as we start seeing some more of this data come out. We saw really disappointing housing numbers last week. Okay, we're going to get existing home sales. I think we got, new home sales last week? It was one of the home sales numbers. I try not to pay too close attention to it. But we do know that we did see last week some kind of mediocre, kind of lukewarm numbers out of the housing market. And the housing market is kind of that last step, right, of the recovery. At least Janet Yellen and the goons down at the Fed, that's what they say. All right, guys? So big news out of Asia tonight. Big news out of the U.S. tomorrow. So London traders, you guys don't have anything tomorrow. You guys get a little game of hooky tomorrow to play. Nothing in London tomorrow morning, but I would expect all eyes and ears to be reacting to what they saw coming out of Asia. And then so if you're with me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. when we open the trade room, we'll be reacting to the reaction from London. We'll check our ranges and we'll be ready here because we got 10 o'clock news at 10 a.m. So I would think tomorrow is going to be a pretty active day. Today was rebalancing Monday, the Monday after options expire last Friday, or on Saturday they expire. Friday was the last day of trading for it. Today everybody gets back to their desks. They put those orders back on, so that's why you saw quite a bit of volatility and whippiness here today. Tomorrow, though, this could be the steamrolling we need here. This could be the steamroller we need. Just as fast as those equities went lower, they could go right back up. So keep an eye out for it. Keep an eye out for it. This week could be another exciting set of volatility. Today was a little bit of a little pussycat compared to the tiger we saw last week. I have never seen such a thing we saw last week. I mean, all the way down, all the way up, all the way down. The volume last week was insanity. I mean, just absolute craziness. So I'm not surprised that we had a bit of whippiness here today. We will be on our toes tomorrow morning. And as you guys know, every day we open up our live trade room, 8 a.m. Eastern time here at School of Trade. Don't forget, download your charts for tonight. Grab your free pass. Join the newsletter. And if you could so indulge, head on over here to SchoolOfTrade.com. Join the free trial. You're going to learn all about our trading methodologies, part of our free trial. We got 3 levels of membership. You'll learn the fundamentals as a beginner. You'll learn all the tools and techniques as an intermediate. And you'll learn all the strategies in our advanced membership. We've got someone standing by here 24/7. And yes, I promise you, she is just as good looking as that young lady, if not better. I'm having fun with you guys. Have a great evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time. If not, we'll see you guys same bat time, same bat channel for our newsletter tomorrow night. Come see me in the trade room, join the free trial, and you guys have a great evening. Don't forget that Halloween costume, guys. I still got to pick out which one I'm going to do. I think I'm going to be Janet Yellen this year. We'll see. We'll see how the costume looks. I'll keep you guys posted. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.